This is big, major breaking news. This is an emergency alert. We have multiple internal government documents being leaked, and they are not good. All right, we have governments coming out of the DOD, the Department of Defense, and we also have documents coming from the Army, and they are warning that something major is happening. And you need to be getting yourself ready. You need to be getting away from these major cities. In one of these reports, they're talking that any major city right now could be a target. This is coming from the Department of Defense. And the Army is getting ready for a mass casualty event. All right, so this stuff is happening. We also have a ton of domestic military movements and also domestic attacks going on as well. We had a major explosion at a chemical plant today in Texas. Okay, we're going to get into more details of that in just a little bit. Shelter in place orders were issued, but you should probably evacuate. This was right outside of Houston, Texas. And we also have a ton of military movement. I experienced this myself personally yesterday. I had a ton of fully loaded helicopters flying over me, and I checked the radar map, and this was insane. I've never seen anything like this in my life. I saw Chinooks going in and out. It was crazy. It was chaos. I have a little video that I recorded while I was driving. All right, disclosure, sorry about that, but I had to get this video. It was this decked out attack helicopters are flying over me while I'm driving. I got to get the video, guys. You know how it is. So I'm going to show you that video as well. There's a ton of stuff going on, and I've never even seen this many helicopters deployed at once domestically in the US. All right, they were flying over me yesterday when we were traveling. So they are getting ready for something big. Something big is going to happen, and you need to get out of these major cities. And that's even part of this warning that the DOD just gave, because they are warning their people internally, but they haven't warned the public yet. They haven't warned the public yet. These are internal memos that aren't supposed to be seen by the public yet, but you have a right to see these memos, and you have a right to know what the government is getting prepared for. All right, so let's dive into. We have two memos, one from the Army, one from the DOD. They both are critical, so stick with me here so we can get through these two memos. And then I'm also going to show you guys insane stuff that I've never seen before. Radar and the amount of helicopters and movement, military movement that we are seeing domestically is insane. All right, I'm also going to show that as well, and I'm going to show you guys a video that I shot personally. I only really show videos and stuff on here if it's something that I filmed myself, because you know how it is on here where you can get strikes for potentially copyright or things along those lines. All right, so let's dive into this first memo here, and then we will get into the Army memo that is warning of a mass casualty event they are getting ready for. But this first memo, this was just leaked by the DOD, the Department of Defense, and it was leaked to Fox News apparently last night, and the details on it are still foggy. They're still getting the details out about it, but this is what was said on the story with Martha Maccallum last night. And I can't find any articles on this or anything, but I watched this episode to get the full context of it, and it seems like the DOD is warning of domestic attacks on the US, and especially targeting weapons manufacturers and major cities. All right, so this is coming from the DOD, and then we will get into what the Army is getting prepared for as well, a mass casualty event, and then all this military movement. But listen to this was from the story with Martha Maccallum just last night. This is what she said.
Obtained an internal government threat advisory around a pro-Palestinian day of action that is planned for tomorrow. We mentioned this at the top of the show. We're starting to learn a little bit more about what this is likely to look like. It says, quote, in all possible cities, at sites of production and headquarters of the largest transnational weapons companies. All right, so figure this out.
All right, so I don't know if you guys could hear that well, but she said that the DOD internal memo is warning, and there was like fact checks going on saying, oh, there's no DOD memo. Well, this is an internal memo, so it's not going to be posted to the public. But this is what Fox is reporting from their sources, and they're saying that this internal memo is warning that multinational weapons companies could be targeted for attacks, and also that major cities could be targeted for attacks. And this could be a major warning for a false flag. All right, this could be them setting up a false flag event in the background and we don't know about it. Or it could be the DOD is trying to stop some kind of false flag event from happening, so they're releasing this memo to the mainstream media saying, hey, this needs to stop. All right, there's a few different scenarios that we could have here. We could have them facilitating it, or we could have this as a counter to the false flag to get the info out that we know there's a plan going on behind the scenes to do a false flag and clamp down on Americans' liberties. All right, so that's what's coming out of the DOD, and we have another internal document coming from the Army as well. All right, so this was a document that was sent out to all of the trainers and the training specialists within the Army specifically. They sent out this internal memo just recently, just a few days ago, and they are getting prepared for a mass casualty event, or a major war to break out. That's exactly what the Army is preparing for right now, and you can see here on this document. So this document, just to simplify it for you, it's a CAC blast, and this is a memo going out to everyone that trains people to go to soldiers' homes when they pass away. All right, so there's a class of people in the Army that normally do this, and now they are making the rank easier to get this training. They are opening up the training to lower ranks in the Army, and they're essentially making this open for a lot more people because they need way more people to deliver the message that your soldier has passed. All right, the very sad and devastating message that nobody wants to get, where they come knock on your door and they tell you what happened. All right, that's what they're preparing for right now, and they're saying that it's in relation to a mass casualty event, and it could also be related to a, quote, large-scale combat operation as well. Those are the two things that the Army is getting prepared for, and they have lowered the ranks so they can have more people to deliver the news that there's going to be major casualties. All right, so this is massive that our governments are having all these internal memos going on in the background. You can see this CAC blast is for internal use only, the 1st of November 2023. All right, so this was just last week. This was sent out. This is an official Army internal memo, and you need to be getting prepared because the Army, the military, the DOD, they are getting prepared for a major war, a large-scale war operation, or a mass casualty event. And this could be on American soil as well. We could see attacks. That's what this DOD was warning, that attacks could be in the city. Attacks could be in the city. And that could be the justification for martial law, for them to clamp down and take away our rights and say, hey, we need to pass a whole new set of laws for spying, for surveillance, for travel restrictions, for buying and selling, all these things for second two-way stuff. All right, two-way stuff is going to get hit, and all this stuff is going to get hit hard if we see a domestic attack like this, and it could be a false flag event. Let's also get into what the military is doing, and then we will get into this information about this chemical plant that exploded as well. There are shelter-in-place orders going on in Texas right now. But you can see here, guys, look at this map. Look at this flight radar map, and tell me there's not something going on, okay? There is a Air Force base over here. There is a Air Force base over here, formerly Fort Rucker is in this area. This was in Alabama, right outside of Montgomery, Alabama. But why are all these helicopters in the air at the same time? These were all Air Force and Army helicopters in the air at the same time. And I had one flying right over me over the road, and I checked the map and it was actually a group of them. I could just only see one because the trees were kind of lining the highway here. And it was decked out. This thing was fully loaded. You can see from this video, all right? This thing was fully loaded. It was armed, and they are doing major training for something big to happen. They are moving assets around to get prepared for a major attack, or they are sending stuff overseas as well, or a combination of these things right now. All right, the military is getting ready. And later, all right, about an hour later, when I was hooking up my RV to get going, I saw Chinooks, right, the dual propeller helicopters that are used for heavy transportation and heavy loads. I also saw them landing. I was not able to get a video. I was not able to get to my phone quick enough because they went behind the trees, all right? But this stuff's happening. These major military operations are happening, and this was domestically. Have you ever seen this many Black Hawk helicopters at once, all flying at once? They're getting ready for something big, all right? We could see a domestic activation. What has been going on the past few years? There has potentially been a paramilitary force that's been allowed into our country, and we are paying for their hotels, their food. We're giving them money. We're giving them phones. We're giving them transportation, these scooters. We're giving them free Uber rides. Why are we treating these people that aren't citizens better than our own citizens and our own veterans? This could be a paramilitary force that is waiting to be activated inside the U.S. All right, and we could have operations getting ready for something big to happen. Okay, and all these explosions, all these things, people say, oh, this is crazy, it's just a coincidence. These tinfoil hat people, it's not a coincidence. These fires, these explosions, we had a major explosion in Texas, all right, right outside of Houston, Texas, for a major chemical plant that produces sulfuric acid, all right? It produces a ton of other chemicals as well, but sulfuric acid was potentially released into the air, one of the more dangerous ones that they produce. And these factories, these plants are also critical to our national security. All these oil refineries that keep catching on line. There was one in Louisiana that caught on fire last month, all right? One of the biggest ones in the country. It's like the third or fourth biggest one in the country, the Mobile oil refinery in Louisiana. These attacks are on purpose. These fires are on purpose. They're not a coincidence, and it's not an accident. And we could see these paramilitary forces potentially already targeting our critical infrastructure and starting these fires and blowing up these plants, allowing these things to happen. This chemical plant was in Shepherd, Texas, outside of Houston, and this looks like Ohio. This plume of smoke looks like Ohio all over again. That's what this looks like, and it's just releasing toxic chemicals into the air, and they just tell you to shelter in place. They don't even tell you to leave and get out of there. They just say to turn off your HVAC systems. That's what's happening in the US right now, and people are being poisoned chemically, biologically. All these different events have been going on. There was a major attack in Las Vegas at a solar plant. This guy just went in and destroyed it, rammed his car into everything, and lit his car on fire and targeted the generator. All right, so all these attacks are not coincidence. They're not coincidence. All these warehouses burning down. Remember, one of the largest egg-laying facilities, this was early this year, one of the largest ones in the country. It was in Maine or Vermont. It was up there in the Northeast, New England, and it might have been New Hampshire. It was one of those states. Largest one one of the largest ones in the country. It was like 30,000 egg layers burned to the ground. You remember this? This stuff's been going on for months and months, and it's not a coincidence. It's not a coincidence, and you need to be getting yourself stocked up. This is siege warfare. This is called siege warfare, where you surround a country, you cut off their supplies going in, you destroy their critical infrastructure, you cut them off from their resources, and that's how you take over. And that's what's happening to America. Our resource capacity is being taken offline. And this is how America could fall, is from internal domestic issues like this, internal attacks like this on America. This is how we could fall, and the aftermath of it, where there's a clampdown, there's a martial law, there's a military law scenario inside the United States to deal with all this chaos. All right, it's here, guys. It's here. I hate to say it's here. I have a 4-year-old. I have a 1-year-old. All right, I have a family. I have a wife. I have a dog. I have chickens. I have a elderly mother. I have a brother. I have family. Okay, I have tons of in-laws, cousins, all the stuff. I have family that I want to live, and I want to survive this situation, but I'm worried. They are not prepared like we are getting prepared. I tell them this stuff, but it doesn't register with most of them. All right, this is going to be bad. When it hits the fan, it's going to be bad. Most people are not ready for this stuff. They're not ready psychologically. They're not ready physically. They're not ready in their preparedness and their storage for items. All right, they're not ready in any of that. And when there's a real emergency, you remember what happened in 2020, where the shelves were empty, everything just overnight, societal, everything changed. All right, we could see that, but with societal chaos as well, because there's a war going on. All right, that's what we could potentially see. All the empty shelves, all the shortages, all the hyperinflation, but it's all going to be amplified even worse. That was a test run. The next clampdown, whatever it is, it could take many forms. A major cyber attack, a major attack on a nuclear power plant. There could be a radiological disaster. All right, there could be an EMP attack. Whatever form it takes, it's going to be big, and it's going to be a lot worse. The last time that we clamped down and we locked down and we had all this chaos, it was a test run. So make sure you guys are getting your family prepared. All right, the DOD internal memo, they're getting ready for attacks in major cities and international weapons manufacturers, attacks on them, which, think about it, if they are attacked, this could cause a chain reaction of their weapons exploding as well, their own weapons detonating and causing an even bigger disaster and cause even more chaos, right? More destabilization. That's the phase we're in right now, the destabilization phase, and things are going to fall very soon. All right, so please hit it up for me down there to help get this video out to more people. People need to know about these internal memos. The Army is getting ready for a mass casualty event. There's so much military movement domestically, shelter-in-place orders, explosions, chemical attacks, all the stuff's happening right now, and people need to know. People need to be getting ready for it, for the next phase. All right, so thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have big blessings in your life for your family. I hope you guys are getting prepared, getting ready, getting stocked up, getting your skills up, getting yourself prepared mentally, spiritually, physically, psychologically, metaphysically, every way you can think of. Get yourself ready and prepared right now, because we could see a big event happen soon. All right, so thank you guys so much, and I hope you have a big old blessed day.